They teach you to ask. They tell you it's respectful, proper, kind. But what they don't tell you is this. Asking is the fastest way to kill attraction. You've probably been there before. You're with a woman you're deeply drawn to. The tension is there. The glances. The way her voice softens when she speaks to you. The air between you feels heavy. And yet, you wait. For a sign. For permission. For clarity. And in that hesitation, everything vanishes. Because here's the hard truth. Attraction doesn't wait for permission. And women, especially the kind you're thinking of, aren't wired to respond to begging, pleading, or polite hesitation. They respond to something far more ancient. Presence. The hidden law of energy. A man who asks is a man who needs. And women can smell neediness before a word leaves your mouth. You don't even have to say anything. It's in your body, your tone, your eyes. That's why you feel it slipping through your hands. You thought asking showed confidence. But what she felt was weakness. Here's the shift you've never been taught. You don't need to ask. You need to lead. She doesn't want convincing, she wants direction. The masculine leads, the feminine responds. This is not manipulation. This is polarity. You think you need to get her to say yes. But her body makes the decision before her lips do. If you're leading with tension, confidence, calm, you'll see something shift in her eyes. She softens. She opens. She mirrors your energy. She leans in, without you needing to push. So stop rehearsing the perfect sentence. Your energy is the message. Words that lead, not plead. There are phrases that ask, and phrases that invite. I was wondering if I could. Versus. I want to see if your energy matches mine. One leaks neediness. The other pulses with direction. It's not about the words. It's about the intention underneath them. If you're trying to get something, she'll feel it. But if you're simply being grounded, calm, non-attached, she'll want to give without being asked. Stop seeking permission. Start creating space. Permission seeking is a symptom of fear. And fear is not attractive. Instead, create a space where desire unfolds. That space isn't physical, it's energetic. Your tone, your breath, the way you hold silence. These things matter more than anything you say. Because when a man walks in certainty, a woman doesn't need permission to follow. She just does. There's something deeply magnetic about a man who doesn't need to speak. Not because he's cold, not because he's rude, but because his silence is charged with certainty. The room feels it. She feels it. You say nothing, and still, she leans closer. Why? Because dominance isn't about raising your voice. It's not about controlling others. It's about mastering yourself. And radiating that mastery without trying. The most powerful men say the least. Watch a truly confident man in a room. He doesn't interrupt. He doesn't overshare. He waits. Because silence is the language of power. The insecure fill space to avoid being exposed. The strong let silence speak for them. A woman can sense this instantly. She hears it in your breath, feels it in your stillness, and she can't help but wonder, who is this man who doesn't need to prove anything? That curiosity? That's attraction, raw and real. What you withhold is more powerful than what you show. You were taught to win her over, to be likable, to be nice. But likable men are forgettable. Mysterious men are magnetic. When you talk too much, you dissolve the mystery. But when you reveal yourself slowly, intentionally, you create a sense of depth that she wants to explore. Women are intuitive. They don't need explanations. They feel energy. They decode presence. And presence cannot be faked. Tension is a tool, not a threat. You don't need to rush to fill awkward pauses. You don't need to explain your every move. You don't need to apologize for having standards. In fact, that's your power. When you stand calm in the discomfort, you radiate dominance, not aggression, but grounded, silent power. Tension is not your enemy. It's your invitation. Because what is attraction if not the tension between opposites? Lead with energy, not explanation. Stop trying to convince her. Stop trying to explain yourself. Stop translating your worth into words. Instead, just be the man who knows. Knows who he is. Knows where he's going. Knows that his presence is enough. That doesn't mean you're arrogant. It means you've arrived. And that kind of quiet arrival? It echoes louder than any speech. You gave her everything. But it wasn't what she needed. Not gifts. Not attention. Not promises. She needed to feel something deep. Something she couldn't explain. Something that pulled her back. Even when her mind said, leave. And that something is not what you do for her. It's who you are without her. Women stay loyal to presence, not performance. She doesn't remember what you bought her. She remembers how she felt in your presence. Was she grounded? Did she feel protected, not caged? Did she feel like a woman, not like a project? That's the secret. Women are not loyal to effort. They're loyal to energy. You can give her everything on paper. Flowers, dinners, love letters. But if your energy is needy, she will feel it. And she'll slowly drift. Because she doesn't want to be your everything. She wants to witness your everything. Your mission is your magnet. The moment you made her your mission, you lost your magnetism. A man without a mission is a man adrift. And no woman wants to anchor herself to a drifting soul. She doesn't want to be the center of your world. She wants to orbit it. So get back on your path. Build. Create. Live for something greater than her. Not to impress her, but because that's who you are. That's when she stays. Not because she's needed, but because she feels honored to be beside your fire. Boundaries build attraction. Every time you tolerated disrespect, you taught her that your peace was for sale. Every time you let a line be crossed, you told her she had no gravity to answer to. But when you set a boundary, and you enforce it, and you walk away when it's broken, not out of anger, but out of respect for yourself, that's when she respects you more. Women test not because they're cruel, but because they want to feel that they're with a man who cannot be swayed. She wants to feel your spine, not your smile. Be masculine energy, not emotional chaos. She's not your therapist. She's not your diary. Yes, vulnerability has power, but only when it's directed, not dumped. You told her too much, too soon, too often, and she stopped feeling like a woman, and started feeling like your emotional mother. Masculinity isn't silence. It's clarity under pressure. You can share, but filter through leadership, not desperation. The moment you hand her the emotional wheel, you reverse the polarity, and the attraction fades. The man who needs nothing gets everything. When you no longer need her validation, she's drawn to you more. When you love without losing yourself, you create safety without smothering. When you walk in purpose, with peace and power, you become unforgettable. Not because you tried, but because you became. So stop trying to win her. Start becoming a man who never has to.